Hello, I am Doc Woods. I am the mental health and sports psych specialist for athletics. I'm housed in Student Health Services. I am currently doing the dialogue, and a lot of what I have is in the package that you just gave out. I figure like you all can utilize it too, so might as well share with everyone. But that's a little bit what I do and some extra stuff. Yeah. So facilitating this workshop, and I forgot to mention, I also do this with Dr. Ben Bailey, so we both tag team this workshop around dialogue. And I love the fact that in real time we're watching individuals increase their emotional intelligence around the differences of human beings, right? Which that comment about the differences kills me a little bit as well. But it's awesome to see that, right? And see people almost have aha moments where it's like, oh, I thought this way for so long, and today I've been introduced to a new path of thinking, right? Which means there's a level of acceptance that I'm starting to see in those individuals when they have these aha moments. And I love setting the stage to where we really don't do much. We utilize a living room conversation and we let that conversation go amongst themselves. And it's awesome because once I give words and definitions away, now they're starting to utilize it within, the group itself. So watching them kind of facilitate their own discussions after a while becomes a highlight, where we can step back and allow them to learn from each other. And even when we have big groups, we do breakout groups as well within. So I'm online. All of our stuff is virtual, so we're not in person, so we can't do the activity thing. But the breakout groups are great because now everyone has to talk. And that's one thing about our dialogue is everybody speaks. You cannot hide, right? And that's in the beginning. This is not a safe space. This will be a brave space. So you're gonna have to speak up on certain matters that are, whether you have opinion on it or not, you're gonna have to speak up. And I love the fact that, afterwards we get a lot of feedback. And as you can see, I've gotten a lot of questions on certain matters that I just didn't want to answer in the moment, but I'll give them the answers and things afterwards. So I kind of compiled that list of questions up, and then I wrote answers for all those questions on the back, because I don't know if you all get questions like that, but I get them all the time due to what we talk about in here. And a little bit about ours can go many different ways. It can start with identity, it can start with race, so we really kind of weave a lot of different subjects at once, but overall we always bring people back to it's a togetherness part, right? And giving them the skills and abilities to navigate the spaces in which they're existing in the world around them. So that's kind of what our FOI brings to the table, and it's been very successful. We have difficult conversations, and some people, there's some tears and stuff like that. But I always say, if you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing. Yeah.
So I guess I'm always growing. But,
Are there any specific questions that you can direct to a specific person, or you could open up to the room? I would love to have that conversation now with everyone here. Yes.
I'd love to hear from those who utilize brave spaces, like the role that plays in the certain type of dialogue or whatever versus safe space, and kind of what you feel the different roles and aspects are.
So I love the brave space. Me and Ben Bailey, we discussed it even before we started FOIs a year or two ago, I don't know when. We had started that based on 2019. We did a school-wide discussion about race with President Taminez was on there. We did it every week through the 1 month, I forget what the month. And from that, it turned into a FOI, right? We created a brave space because people thought they could say whatever they wanted to say because we were doing this live with the school. And eventually we had to be like, all right, you just can't say anything and think you're not gonna get challenged. So we was like, all right, this is not a safe space. So we had to come up that definition and turn into a brave space where you can get challenged on the things you say or don't say. And that became very helpful because now people were a lot more mindful of how they present themselves. They weren't just throwing things out there, but they had to think about, where is this coming from before I say it? And that's great. Or they just say it and just know it's gonna get challenged, and then they get corrected on it. So it gives permission to be challenged. It increases accountability and ownership within the individuals within that group. And that's what you really want. You want accountability and ownership, and that's like step one. And after that, and you have permission to challenge people, with now the conversation can go wherever you want it to go. And I'm big on Elmo, which means, all right, enough, let's move on. right? Because some people, and I guess I can go into the challenges, right? Challenges, some people do like to dominate these spaces. I will definitely say that. And there's two types of people, right? There's the masculine one who's very traditional. It's always been that way, right? Those killer type of phrases. It's always been that way. This is just how things are, right? You got those individuals. But then you got, let's say, the other ones that are more so, they will direct everything about them. And then here comes the tears, right? So then I call that out. No. You're not going to dominate the space with your tears, nor are you going to dominate the space with your over masculinity as well. So that's what a brave space can also develop and create, where you can challenge those individuals. But then you also shed light, and then you bring them back to the group, and then it's a collective agreement of a brave space. So that's how I utilize a brave space, I should say. So, yeah.
That's awesome. I'm laughing only because I'm like, you need to be in all of these FOIs.
I would say when we started out, one thing that we altered was modeling. So we set the stage, right? But also we had to model what it is we expect from the group members itself. And we didn't do that in the beginning. So when we started modeling, as in a lot of self-disclosure, right? This is who I am, this is where I come from, these are my experiences. So instead of like, hey, we're the professionals and then we want you all to be vulnerable and open up, we started to model that from the start. That changed the whole dynamic of our FOIs for sure. And then it increased two things that are very important if you're trying to make connections with people. So once we started doing the modeling, we started getting more willingness and consideration from people. And if you got those two things, you can damn near do whatever you want in the group, right? And people are going to disclose, they're more open, they're safe, right? So yeah, the modeling is very important. Model exactly how you want that group to go. So yeah.
Awesome. Everyone, round of applause for our panelists. We're going to break out for lunch. We have lunch